he won a campaign basically making fun of Joe Biden, calling him Sleepy Joe, and now he's doing basically the same thing.
As you will see later in this highlights reel, some major news fails to reach North Carolina Biden to Trump swing voters. But President Trump's apparent struggles to stay awake in meetings is something that 11 of the 14 had heard about. After we showed respondents a 2-minute video montage of recent nodding off episodes, here's how respondents felt about it.
I think after the last administration with Biden and then his diagnosis of stage 4 cancer and all the, it seems like they're kind of hiding health issues.
I almost feel like he has symptoms of onset of dementia. I've seen, I know someone that had it and researched a little bit, and I really think he has dementia settling in.
I would just say he's too old. I mean, same thing with Biden. I don't know if it's any huge medical issue. I mean, you get to be 80. This is not, CEOs aren't 80 for most companies, you know. He just needs more sleep.
Well, he also spends half the night tweeting all night. He tweeted 300 something tweets the other night, 6 hours straight.
He's an old man. So it's not that it's him falling asleep is out of the ordinary given his age, but it is, the most important job you could have in the country. So probably shouldn't be falling asleep. It just seems like a dereliction of duty.
Just the appearance of being disengaged from the meeting is concerning.
Those are all important meetings. I don't understand why he could, lose whatever consciousness he has. I mean, every meeting is important. He's the president, so that is concerning.
If they invested a lot of taxpayers' money so he can attend, I'm sure that it was something of value and something important that he needed to be listening to. And if it was wrong for other presidents, then it's concerning for him as well.
It turns out 7 of the 14 respondents think there's a reasonable chance that due to health concerns, President Trump will not be able to complete the rest of his term. Yet at the same time, there were 4 respondents who were not worried about the president's struggles to stay awake. They explained it this way.
The sense that I get from viewing that and having seen it on TV as well is that that's his way of tuning out the noise, so to speak. He closes his eyes, he's focusing, he's thinking, he's concentrating. I don't see anything that displays him being literally, sound asleep. Like his head's not nodding back and forth like that. He's not, no one's addressed him. There's been no show of anyone addressing him, and then he's failed to respond or anything to that degree.
I don't think it's acceptable, but I wouldn't expect anything like better of him. Like that's where the bar is for me with Donald Trump. Like that's normal behavior for him. I wouldn't expect him to behave like to the standard of like Obama, for example, who was like a real statesman to me, well spoken and presented himself very well. I wouldn't compare him in the same way to like Obama, for example. To me, this is just normal per Trump behavior.
I feel like Trump has displayed this air of almost like nonchalantness, if that's the correct way to put it. Like he's had almost superior and above the rules and the law and the standards. So he gets to set his own standard.
While there's a major amount of awareness of President Trump's apparent sleep challenges, the media and political firestorm facing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth barely registers as a blip on most of these respondents' radar screens. To start off, only 7 respondents could identify Pete Hegseth by this unlabeled photo. An 8th respondent said this person was J.D. Vance. 6 others had no clue who it was. Once they were all told it was Hegseth, 9 agreed that Hegseth has been in the news a lot in the past few weeks. Then we asked why.
I just hear his name randomly, but I just don't pay attention really. But I just hear his name a lot in the news. I don't know if it's got to do with Ukraine or over like the treaty, the agreement between the Middle East. But I just randomly like hear his name or see news stories pop up.
Christina, why has it been in the news the last few weeks?
I have no idea, to be very honest. My husband watches a ton of news, so I sit on the couch grading my papers, and I have heard his name several times, but not connected to anything other than maybe war crimes.
Okay. War crimes related to what?
I don't know.
So the first time I heard him was on TikTok, and I think there was like a misspelling or something of his um like name poll or something. But then when I started watching the peace agreement between Rwanda and the Congo, I noticed that he was there in the room as well. So people were speculating that either America is trying to make peace with other people war, other countries in wars, or we're either preparing to go to war. And then I saw some other TikTok clips. So basically, social media is where I saw his name from, not my regular CNN.
I mentioned earlier the attack on the drug boat and war crime is something that's come up about that. That's been the latest. I mean, it's been in the news quite a bit, but that's been the lately one.
Well, I think mostly just because of the fact that there's been a lot of discussion around foreign policy, the military, and things of that magnitude. So it's been a little bit more heightened than normal.
But why? Like, what foreign policy has caused a particular amount of attention to be focused on Hegseth the last couple of weeks?
Well, I still think a lot of this stems from the National Guard and what's been taking place around the country with regard to immigration.
I think there's it's troublesome that you've got someone that is deemed the Secretary of War that is making decisions that apparently President Trump is not aware of or may not have all the information on. The latest situation with the boat, the bombing of the boat, the survivors. I watched that meeting. President Trump said that he didn't have all of the information, that he wasn't aware of the information. I mean, your commander in chief should be aware of all aspects of war.
Circling back to President Trump, he is struggling to hold the support of these swing voters. Just 3 approve of his job performance this year, while 11 disapprove. 12 say they are more anxious about the economy now than they were in January. Those who disapprove of his overall performance say this.
Kind of a one step forward, 2 steps back kind of idea. Every time I think he does something that's worthy of being commendable, 2 things back. Like, I'm still waiting for that Epstein list to come out any day now. That would be really cool to know if my president is a snake person or not.
I had hoped that he would attempt to put an end to these forever wars and supporting these countries that we keep sending all of our tax dollars to, but that hasn't come to fruition and led to my disappointment so far.
I don't think a lot of thought is going into some of the decisions, especially as it relates to immigration, foreign policy.
I guess they're not executing it the way that I would believe that it is to help all people.
Ways of handling every situation is so eccentric, you don't even know what's going to happen. I mean, once he deals with the policy, it can go either way. Everything is, everything is on risk. So you don't really know what's happening.
He hasn't kept his word on a lot of things. And I think a lot of things are a mess right now. The growth of the economy, he's fired a lot of people. ICE has gone out of control.
I would say the inflation on the economy has been a big hit for me, and then also just his audacity and his corruption and how he's making his family very wealthy again.
I'm really disappointed with the economy. I was praying like, things would get better this year, and it seems like they have not.
I'm a school teacher at a high school that has a higher population of Hispanic families, and that has really hit our community hard. So it's been really difficult from that perspective to see the kids worrying, and just the tactics that have been used are absolutely absurd and really so damaging.
There's a lot of reasons. ICE was definitely one of them. I have a lot of friends that are, you know, some of them aren't even Latino, they just look it. And I don't know how it's legal for you just to arrest people just based off how they look. I don't know. I think they said they arrested over like 500 or 600 people in the weekend, and they were bragging about two of them being gang members. And I'm just like, as a person of color, I don't know how anybody could agree with that being okay because, I mean, it's blatant discrimination.
Similar, the economy, inflation, unemployment, the tariffs. I wasn't a big fan of the tariffs, but they could come back to really bite us. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Foreign affairs a plus. I'm marginally, against things that he's done. I mean, it's pretty even, so close to even, but definitely international better, but in our nation, not as good.
We showed a minute-long clip of President Trump last week calling affordability a, quote, Democrat hoax, unquote. Here's how these swing voters responded.
I think it's very bold of him to say that when I don't feel that that is an actual depiction of what's taking place right now. If that were the case, so many people wouldn't be struggling.
Gas is more expensive. Groceries are more expensive. But then you have to factor in, this is someone who is chauffeured. This is someone who shopped for. So I think that there's a disconnect between the average everyday American people and the president.
I don't necessarily trust Trump, and I think that's the biggest thing about hearing him speak. I don't always know when he is speaking truth or when he's just kind of like making stuff up.
I mean, I start off, can you believe anything he says? Everything's a hoax. Everything's the Democrats. It's just disgusting. You can't listen to it because it's just things are affordable in his mind. That's the worry part. Does he really believe it? I don't think he believes it though. I think it's just it's politics, but I hope he doesn't believe it.
Part of me feels like the people around him are actually telling him this, and he just believes what is being told to him. I think they're, saying, hey, we got prices down to 199. And he's like, oh man, that's great. We're doing a good job. And I think he kind of lost touch with what's really going on with the American people.
I just think he's full of it. And he's always blaming Biden for everything instead of taking responsibility for what he's done.
We did our first deep dive into AI since August. What we found now was a high level of personal familiarity and comfort with AI, countered by a fair amount of societal trepidation. Two things stood out. The first is that 11 respondents fear that AI personas will replace human friends for people, and 10 are concerned about AI's impact on jobs. Erica, what's your worry about jobs?
I mean, my husband just got laid off last week from a company for 17 years because of AI. So that's very concerning. And my current job that I'm at, I'm actually not using the AI so much to try to keep some of the other girls busy. Like I'm not utilizing that technology because that means they may be out of a job. So it hits home like big time.
I'm also in a part of the tech industry, and I think that ultimately the goal is if they can save costs by not having to hire people, companies will do that. I don't think that we're at a point right now that AI is able to fully replace everyone, but I think that that's the goal that companies would work towards if it saves them cost.
In terms of addressing some of the larger societal challenges with AI, all but one respondent favored global discussions or even a global agreement on managing AI. But what nearly all of them opposed was having the US government come in and regulate the development of AI.
Well, in my mind, I'm thinking development means the creation. And why limit someone's creativity if they can come up with some kind of AI that's going to help? But that once it's created, then we still need to regulate how it's used.
Thank you for joining us again this month. Please forward this link to a friend, and please join us again next month. Have a happy and healthy new year.